Do you do rough sketches before you start a new painting? In this video, I am going to show you how to make one. And these are some of the sketches I did before I painted a larger version. This step to me is very important, mainly to visualize the concept, the scene, or the composition, or maybe just the colors before I start on with the new painting. It is a rough draft done rather quickly. It doesn't have to be neat or visually pleasing. So this has become one of my favorite steps before I start painting. So let me show you how I go about it. I usually use a pen and a rough sketchbook. It's very raw. You can see my lines are all wobbly. I don't really care about how it looks really, because this is just for my personal use. This rough sketch is for a winter landscape painting, and it is from a reference picture that I took on my morning walk. So I'm just trying to simplify the foliage and the trees that I would like to include in my painting. And if you can look at the reference picture, it is quite different from how you can see in the picture. The placement of the trees especially is quite different. So it's rather quick scribble, doesn't matter if it goes wrong, and you can even use these continuous lines to just get your idea down, and that's more than enough. And it's so liberating, so exciting to work on these little thumbnail or little idea sketches. Sometimes I leave this as just a pen sketch. Sometimes I like to do some color just to figure out what sort of colors I would need to use for my painting. So here I'm just going to try out a few colors that I would like to use in my bigger painting. I don't really have to plan a lot when I begin to paint. I can just place the colors that I think might be good. Just a quick single stroke with a larger brush is the easiest way to go about it. So I'm just, as you can see, I'm just placing it over there, just seeing if it looks good, and I'm trying to visualize it when it's slightly bigger as well. I'm going to do just one more sketch, just because it's a lot of fun, and also I could use it later to start doing a larger painting. So the reference picture again is from my morning walk, and here I'm just trying to simplify the shapes. I can see foliage on the right, I can see foliage in the background as well. So I'm just going to place them so I know how to place them when it comes to a larger painting. I think the highlight here is I absolutely love the shadows in the foreground, which is why I'm just going to emphasize it using my pen. And just a few squiggles for the trees on the left, and maybe a few squiggles for the landscape in the background. Another thing that I would like to bring out in the larger painting would be the sun and the sun rays. I just love the way the sun has risen on the right, casting long shadows in the foreground, and that is what I would like to capture in my larger painting. And this sketch just gives me the idea and the concept of how it could look when it's bigger. And finally, I'd like to add some watercolors to see how the colors would look as well. So just adding the sunrise colors. I have added some cobalt blue and some quinacridone red, a little bit of cadmium yellow for the bright orange that's around the sun. I'd like to capture the sun rays, so I'm just going to see if lifting out would work. I've also added a few lines showing sun rays, so that's going to help me give information while I start painting big. And the good thing is I can experiment all these techniques in this little sketchbook before I go on to a larger painting. And these are the final paintings that I did from these sketches.